Luke Elzinga and Tyler White are two of the biggest left-footed punters you'll ever see. But what makes them so different? In this video, I'm going to break down their technique to show you what they do and how you can use it to improve your technique no matter what foot you punt with. Now, I'm left-footed as well, and I used to punt for LSU, but I was nowhere near as good as these guys. Now I improve the physical and mental performance of punters just like you, so you can play with confidence and perform at your best. Big left foot punter from Oklahoma, a senior, absolutely launches them. Then we got Tyler White, freshman from Texas A&M. And a massive, massive kick, okay? So let's take a closer look, starting with Luke. So lets that ball come into him, okay? Then he takes his step with his right foot, quick hands, goes that low to high drop to release it softly, allows his foot to get underneath the ball, and then you can see really cranks the hips there to get a lot of power into it. All right, so we then go to Tyler. So slightly different, he more jabs into it. All right, right, left, right. Super short last step, which is amazing considering how much momentum he's got going into his steps. Gets his foot under contact at a great height. What I see here, the difference in the contact point, like they're both cranking their hips, but it looks like Luke's just catching the ball slightly on the outside of his foot, where Tyler's just going up through it a little bit more, and that allows you to get more force through the ball. So if we match these up and we go back, so interesting, so Luke lets the ball come to him. Tyler's a bit more jabbing into it. I know the snap's a bit off to his right, but if we take a look, so Luke's already caught the ball. So Luke's caught the ball there. Then Tyler, yeah, they both made contact at the same time. So you see, it's just interesting there. I know it's just warm-ups and Luke's probably not thinking too much about get off, but jabbing into it kind of gets you going. As long as your hands are fast, you can have a quick get off. But it's just interesting to see the differences between jabbing into it or letting the ball come to you, and you kind of got to work out what's best. But like I said, both these guys are cranking their hips, utilizing that hip torque, absolutely smacking the ball. Let's take a closer look at Luke. Now, if you like this video so far, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. It goes a long way in helping me grow this. All right, so going left here. Now, one thing he's got to be careful of is this first step going up the field. And now that tends to happen as you meet the snap. So the issue that this can cause is it'll throw off your alignment. So if we see here, if he wants to go out to left, he's now got to go back out that way. And then see, okay, so you can see how he's dropped that ball inside. It's either from an inside drop or an outside walk. And when your first step goes one way, but then you've got to go the other way, it throws everything off. And you just see, yeah, so he's pulled that ball inside. So you can still get a good ball, you can get a good turnover spiral, get a lot of power into it, but direction is so important. So you just got to be mindful of that. And every now and then things might not match up, and that's when you start to shank the ball. So I talk about staying in like a shoot. So like ideally he wants to be kind of out this way with his steps, something like that. But then that first one really takes him out of the chute, and then he's got to like go back into his chute, and it can just, like I said, throw a few things off. All right, so let's take a closer look at Tyler. So here again, like I said, he has that low to high ball drop and gets a massive crank with his hips there. You can see just how much he utilizes the hip rotation. So kind of catching it on the outside a little bit, outside of his foot. Now, interesting here that Texas A&M, the difference is they offset from their snapper, whereas Oklahoma are straight back. So the main thing there is Tyler's got to catch the ball from a pretty significant angle and then get it across, but then he's got a bit more of a straighter line. So I'd say he pretty well stays in his chute there. last minute crank of the hips, and yeah, pretty decent location. Okay, so let's look at this one here. So a nice snap there on his left hip, steps out and then gets that crank. And we can just see that, say if you wanted that ball to go outside the numbers, so he's going this way, then that's the one we've got to be careful of, where you start to pull it inside. And you see that's gone more inside of where he was. So when you're on the left hash, doesn't look so bad, but if you're more towards the middle of the field and you do that, you don't get the hang time. That's something that the coaches aren't going to love, as the returner just has a high chance of returning that. So one thing you can do to get your alignment better is just shorten your steps. Now these guys, they do get quite long. They're like 3-step punters. They get a little bit long, covering like 4 to 5 yards. So if you need to, like if you're finding that you're either misaligning with the ball, reduce the number of steps or shorten the length of your steps, because it means less likelihood, like less variability in your steps to then go offline. So I reckon here, like Tyler either has like noticed that he wants to like work on his alignment, or like because he feels maybe he has felt like he hasn't been hitting his alignment. So he's gone like back to just 2 steps. Now that might be typically what you do when you're doing like backed up punts, which is what they are here. However, the snapper is at 15 yards, so it's not really considered a backed up situation. But you can see when he goes just 2 steps left, right, and that is a super short last step where his left foot is like just come off the ground and he's already into the right step into the ground. And then you see the contact. So he's still cranking the hips, but he stayed more in his shoot. And then that's a much better location on the punt, outside the numbers, on the sideline, not going to get returned. So that's one thing you can do to improve either your consistency and your direction on the ball. If you need any help with your punting, whether that's to unlock more power, improve your alignment to kick with more consistency, or you just want more confidence in your punting, make sure to check out the top links in the description. There are a few options there for high school, college, pro punters. Make sure to check out the top links in the description. This is Matty Hayball. He's punter for the New Orleans Saints. This is him before he got picked up. Another lefty, and he's been working on this for years, is his direction, okay? So he likes to crank the hips as well. But what I love there is he's getting up through the ball. So again, something he's worked on, from instead of like coming off the side of his foot, going up through the ball, kicking up through it a little bit longer. And you can just see, this is a nice set of just pretty solid location. So getting the ball like where he is walking. So talk about the shoot. Does he stay in the shoot? Okay, so he's always tended to do this. He'd always step right to create a bit of room to go left, but it's not too bad. Like even if we made that shoot a bit skinnier, like he's staying within it, cranks the hips. Okay, look, it could be better. He is pulling that ball a little bit inside, but super consistent with his location. And again, he's worked on this. So what you can do is like set up, if you're a lefty, set up something on your left-hand side, some cones, a pole to stop you from going left. If you're a righty, you jump on the other side. Now, what Matty would do is he would step out to the right to create that room. So that's where you might need to get cones and poles on both sides to stay within your shoot. Okay, you can still use your hips, but just try not to go off your line so much. Comment below who you would like me to analyze next. If you want to put some great karma out there to help you stop shanking your punts, share this video with someone else.